Da 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 da. Hey, all you guys! Happy Valentine's Day! It's everybody's Olan Fa again, and I'm gonna teach you how to make your brick color into actual bricks. Now, there's lots of ways you can color things in Blender. I mean, if you're happy with this, you're happy with this. I'm not. I want it to look like a photograph. So, I'm going to introduce you guys to nodes. Now, what are nodes? Go up here to Shader Editor. Here's two nodes. Look at these. These are nodes that Blender automatically generates for this color, this brick color that we made up. All it has here is it's got a little roughness. That's about it. So, how do we tell it you want a brick? Well, first you need to understand what's the difference between a material and a texture. In Blender, a material is anything that ultimately hooks up to material output. It could be colors, it could be textures, it could be all kinds of stuff. It could be geometry. It could be math. But a texture has an image behind it. You can even use an actual image. We're going to use a brick texture here. So I get that and hook that up. And look at this, gang. We've made a prison. That's not very satisfying, is it? Well, why is it like that? The reason it's like that is, remember last video we went through all this mishigas about UV mapping. UV mapping is what tells the material output and all these other nodes where we want stuff. And here, watch this. Horizontal split here. Go up here, UV editor, select the whole thing, and that's what we've got. Now, if I were using an actual image, like a picture of bricks, I'll show you someday how to make seamless textures for pictures, or pictures for textures, whatever. If I were doing that, this would be fine, but I'm not. What Blender is doing is, pretend there's some guy with a slide projector sitting way over there and shooting at this. And yeah, you'd only be getting one side, so we need a little bit of a different UV map. So what I'm going to do is come over here and cube projection, because we're working on something that's flat. It didn't do anything if it's gonna. Watch this. Even though we've changed this doesn't know about it yet. So I'm going to add a couple nodes that will tell it what to do with this. Shift A, vector mapping. Mapping allows you to scale things and rotate them and turn them upside down and all that good stuff. And just so it knows what it's mapping, I'm going to do input texture coordinate. Now you'll notice there's UV map here. I don't like the way this works, so texture coordinate is what I always use. Now, since we just overrode the UV map we have by doing it again and not naming it beforehand or any of that stuff, it knows we have only one, so we don't have to tell it which one to use. It's just use the one you got. And there, voila. Well, now we have a building made out of cinder block. That's not very appetizing. We don't need this anymore, so I'll get that out of the way. But you see that everything's lined up. I'm going to see if I can move it a little. No, it's not letting me do that. I don't like these being in so close. There's ways you can remedy that, but they're weird and beyond the scope of today's symposium. But anyway, first thing we need to do is we need to make these bricks instead of cinder blocks. So I'm going to give this a different, say, 20. Now I typed in a bigger number and it got smaller. You're going to find Blender likes to do that. If you wanted something to look smaller, type in a bigger number. If you want something bigger, like, you know. But there you go. Isn't that nice? And everything lines up. It's all cool and beautiful and stuff like that there. Now, we got to pick colors. That's a nice color for a brick, right? Okay, now, let me tell you an artistic secret. When you don't make a house like the one I used to live in that was such an eyesore because they just took any bricks from anywhere and they didn't match and they put them all on. It was horrible. This, we do something normal. Get this little eyedropper here and pick that. Yeah, okay, so now they're both the same. So I'm going to make this a little bit redder and a little bit darker. And that looks like somebody actually cared about what they were designing. Mortar is usually, how did you know to put it there? Many, many years of doing this. There you go. Now, that looks good, right? This is really all I wanted to show you in this video. It's enough to get you started. Now, what I want you to do for homework is I want you to make sort of a slate brick texture for the roof using what you learned here today. Okay? And just take this and play with it and try all the buttons. Control Z is your friend. Try all the buttons and see what they do. You never know. Could be anything. Could be something good that I would never have thought of. But just try it and see how it goes. And don't forget, file, save. That's it for today, folks. See you again.